Laughlin requesting some help from the government as the village's immigrant population continues to grow.
Yeah, back in July, we told you about the thousands of Mauritanians who were arriving to Laughlin after a travel route from Mauritania to Cincinnati was posted on social media. Now, months later, village officials say they're still struggling to accommodate the influx of people.
Brenda Ordonez is live with the challenges they are facing.
Yeah, Trisha, Megan. So Valley Interfaith Resource Center here in Laughlin, it helps provide people with clothing and food. They tell me where it pertains to the Mauritanian influx coming through their doors, it really dated back to 2023. We know, according to government data, that's when the overall U.S. did start to see a spike in Mauritanians crossing the border. Now, they tell me since then, this nonprofit has been struggling to keep their shelves stocked. To put things into perspective, they tell me 3 years ago, they were serving around 5,000 meals, helping 5,000 people. Well, now this year they're projected to help around 34,000 people.
It's not a political thing in my book. It's just a fact that a situation that wasn't caused by this village has been dropped on us, and now we're left to deal with it.
Laughlin Mayor Mark Mason speaking with Fox News after the number of new immigrants, primarily from Mauritania, doubled Laughlin's population in just over a year. According to our media partners at the Inquirer, the village population rose from about 3,500 in 2023 to over 6,000 today.
Our fire and paramedic services have been stressed.
According to Laughlin Fire Department, they've seen a jump in calls to the apartments where many of these immigrants are now living in crowded conditions. Mason tells our partners at the Inquirer that this has caused working non-immigrant families to move out of Laughlin, creating up to a $200,000 shortfall in earnings from income tax revenue this year.
There are 10 or more people living in, one bedroom or studio apartments. They do share that with us. For them, that's not an issue, but it is for all of us. It's a safety hazard.
Hearing stories from Mauritanians who receive a warm meal and clothes at Interfaith Community Resource Center, CEO John Kiefer says their cramped living conditions and employment status are due to circumstances associated with asylum seekers having to wait months for a work visa.
What we're seeing now is many of them who've met that 6-month mark, they're getting work visas and they're trying to find jobs, and many are being hired. And so we're seeing some of the older ones leaving.
Kiefer says his center has connected with businesses across the county to help eligible immigrants obtain jobs.
That was all because people on different political viewpoints just looked at a problem and came together with us when no government official returned an email or a call.
While Kiefer says more donations and or federal funding would help them provide more resources for these immigrants, Mason is asking the federal government to
give smaller communities like ours help in dealing with this, and certainly direct them to communities that are sanctuary municipalities and that has the space and accommodations for these immigrants.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The video that I'm dropping tonight, it's something that more people need to know about, because it just seems that with the election coming tomorrow and in the past couple of weeks, this is some information that the mainstream media has been keeping from the public. Okay. Also, I'm going to show something that Kathy Hochul said about Americans, if you haven't seen it already, okay, calling Americans basically un-American, okay, for a couple of certain reasons, which I'll get to and point it out so you guys can see. But before I continue, and I also have another small announcement to make later on in the video, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here to YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and pass the channel around. If you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. So this video you just seen, okay, was put out about a problem that's going on in a small, it's not even a town, it's more like what they consider a village out in, I believe it's Cincinnati, Ohio, called Laughlin. Okay, it seems that once again, okay, another small town has been basically flooded, okay, with more illegal immigrants, this time from a place called Mauritania or something like that. I'm probably butchering the name, but it's a place out in Africa. So they decided to flood the town with double occupancy. You heard what the lady said, that a couple of years ago they were, you know, serving underprivileged people, or I guess immigrants, in, you know, in this case, 5,000 meals. Now it's up to them serving 34,000 people. Okay, now the town is only about 3,500 people, but now it seems that, and this is one of the problems I have, and this is why I say in a lot of my videos, everyone that's involved, especially the religious agencies that play a part in this, this falls on you. This is also your fault. So don't think for a hot minute that you're out there giving meals to illegal immigrants while your fellow Americans are suffering, that you are actually doing something good, because you're not. So you need to get that out your head, that you think by leaving someone out in the cold to please someone else is a good deed. Okay, and this is why I get so upset with a lot of these religious agencies. They claim to be religious, but yet they put other people in harm's way because they think that by helping people that have no skin in the game, okay, is doing God's work. Okay, I don't understand the reasoning of how you think harming people to please others is doing God's work. Okay, now I may be wrong, that's fine, I'll pray about it, I'll think, or whatever the case is, but I just don't understand how all these agencies, political officials, can let something that they perpetrated, they started, get so out of hand, okay, and now that the politicians don't want to say anything about it, okay, we're going to get to that, okay, that now you feel as if you're being left out in the cold. Well, how does that feel? Because you didn't care about the Americans living in this small town, small village, whatever you want to call it, okay? You had to play a part in helping others from another part of the world, okay? They came here illegally, and because of, once again, supposed sanctuary status or whatever the case is, the Americans, okay, because you heard the reporter yourself, that are not illegal or whatever the case is, okay, are moving out of the town, and it's costing the town money. So not only are you displacing your own fellow countrymen, women, and children, okay, now you want help from the government. You want my taxpayer money, you want everybody else's taxpayer money to help you for your cause. Okay? I wonder, as a person where I'm living at, the state that I'm living at, my financial situation, which is not good, I wonder if I can go put a claim myself to any one of these agencies and say, well, I need help. Since you're helping people from another country, it shouldn't matter if you help somebody else from another state. I wonder if I myself can apply and get whatever resources, whatever money, food stamps, voucher for cars, voucher for rent, if I can apply for this. Because it just seems that, once again, they care more about people that have come here illegally looking for a better life, that they're more willing to help them than help out the ones that decided to say, you know what, I didn't move to this town or being born and raised in this town just to get pushed out, I'm leaving. Did you go and help them leave? Did you go and give them money so they can leave? Since you were displacing them. Okay? And now you got the mayor, okay, saying that this is not political. Yes, it is political, and you know it's political. But now you want help, okay, from the federal government, who in turn is going to wind up taking our taxpayer money, okay, all of America's taxpayer money, okay, even the ones that are struggling working 2 or 3 part-time jobs, you're going to take their taxpayer money to help out your cause in your little town. And here's the thing, people, because I found something strange. I'm gonna play another couple of short clips and read an article. It seems that the ones that are involved, okay, are Democrat and Republican alike. Okay, because the governor is Republican, and this mayor, I believe, is Democrat, and there's another senator, I believe, that's Republican. But now, for some odd reason, they're not doing any interviews about this situation. And I had to look it up and ask why. Why aren't they jumping on this? And you're going to be surprised what I show you on the reason why they're not jumping on it. Okay? And this is why so many people are upset, like myself, with the Republican Party. This is why I voted for Trump. So Trump could take care of the American people first. All these other shills in Washington, they are the problem. Okay? They are the problem. Now, before I continue to the next video, just a quick side note. The video short that I put out last night or the day before, I believe, okay, barely got any views. I'm lucky if I got 30, 40 views to it. Why? Because I'm pointing out the voter fraud. Okay? So, I guess you can say they're actually suppressing it, because even the them pushing it out, the impressions, is less than 350. Okay? As soon as I point out voter fraud, and put just a video short on it, is getting no traction. So I need all of you to go back and watch it and pass it. It's only 51 seconds. But this is the problem when people like me and everybody else want to speak out and spread awareness that we're being suppressed. Just like the people in this small town who probably said, you know what? I don't want any part of this. Did anybody listen? Of course not. Because now the place is all messed up. It's flooded with illegal immigrants. Okay? Resources are running dry. People that live there are moving out. Or that, you know, that used to live there now at this point. They said it's costing the village $200,000. I don't know if that's per family that's moving out or in total. But if it's in total, obviously, it means a lot to them. Which makes sense why they call it a village. Because it's small. It's a small area. But leave it up to the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans that are in cahoots with them to destroy all these small Americana towns. Okay? And yet they want help from the federal government, and now they're not getting any call back from the federal government, okay? Or even officials that know about what's going on. And why is that? Because you would think that they would understand when people are saying that this is not something that the American people want, but is pushed on them, and the federal government, the agenda, okay, that's going on is they are trying, and I'll say it again, they are trying to displace as many Americans as they can and change the demographics of this country. But until it comes into your backyard, you don't want to believe it. And now you're out here begging for help. In all honesty, you don't deserve the help. You don't. Okay? You just don't. And I'm going to point out why I say they don't deserve the help. But with that being said, let's get to the next video clip. Here we go.
I first reported on the struggles that Laughlin was having with immigrants in mid-September. Administrator and Fire Chief Doug Weemeyer told me that the village population of 3,500 people had nearly doubled due to the influx of 3,000 Mauritanians.
Okay, folks, just a quick side note. You heard what he said, that he, I'll play it again from the beginning, okay? Just want everybody to hear this real quick.
I first reported on the struggles that Laughlin was having with immigrants in mid-September.
Okay, he said he reported this back in mid-September. Keep that time frame in mind. Let's continue.
Administrator and Fire Chief Doug Weemeyer told me that the village population of 3,500 people had nearly doubled due to the influx of 3,000 Mauritanians. He says it's creating a safety issue and pushing village resources to the breaking point. Chief Weemeyer says there are as many as 10 Mauritanians living in two-bedroom apartments. He says they've essentially taken over several apartment buildings in the village. He warns they're straining emergency services and more. Here's what Mayor Mark Mason told me earlier this month when I interviewed him.
What scares me the most is there's a major fire and there is 300 to 400 people that's killed in a fire.
Okay, he said that worries him the most. So then why did you agree? Why didn't you push back on the government when they were sending these illegals into your town? You know, I'm not understanding the mindset of these people, that they know what their town can and cannot handle. But since they're obligated to their overlords, okay, now it's a problem. Well, why didn't you think about that before, after, I don't know, maybe the first 500 was sent into the town? Did it dawn on you maybe after the first 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000? Did it ever occur to you that maybe your town, your village, cannot handle that many people? Especially when your regular citizens are moving out. Maybe one family moves out, but you're letting in another 10, 15, 20 families? You know, it's diabolical the way these people on the right and the rhinos and the anti-American politicians think. And then when it gets overcrowded, again, when the garbage piles up too much in their backyard, now they want everybody else to help them clean it. And it's like, wait a minute, we were warning you, not trying to say that immigrants are garbage, so I don't want anybody to think that. I'm just trying to use an analogy. You can't just keep dumping the trash in your yard, okay, and expect it to not smell. And I know a lot of people are going to look at this like it's a poor analogy, but I mean, which other way can we look at this? You know, Donald Trump was being vilified for him saying that America is like the world's trash can. That all the undesirables around the world are being dumped as if it's their garbage and we are the garbage can. Okay? Now you have a small town that was doing fine, and now since the Biden agenda, okay, is to basically destroy America, and now you have this cackling hen who wants to keep running America the same way. How else are we supposed to look at this? Other than the fact that they want to destroy America. They want it to be trash. They just want people from all around the world to come and flood every small town, every little city, whatever the case is. And then when the money's gone and trash is piling up in the street like in New York and other places, what's it look like? Where are we headed? You're right. Looking like a third world country. You know, they put up so many rules and regulations against Americans about your living conditions. I mean, even to the point that in many states, okay, because I know when I was growing up as a kid, we never heard of it, but in many states, they make it an issue that a mother and father to have, let's say, two children, a boy and a girl, that they're not allowed to sleep in the same room. Okay, they're not allowed to share bedrooms. Okay? But yet, you have all these illegals coming over. They know what kind of occupancy they got. Okay, I'm sure that they brought this up with the powers that be, but do the powers that be care? No. I guarantee you they're all sitting down, eating lobster, saying, you know what, we don't care if you fit 20 or 30 to an apartment. Just get them in. That's our future voter base. This is how we're going to destroy America. This is how we're going to bring down all the Americans. We're going to start with the little towns, the little villages. It'll spread. We'll take over. And now he's going to come here and say, oh, I'm worried? Why weren't you worried about your constituents, about the people you took an oath to protect? Why weren't you worried about them first? Because had you been worried about them first, you wouldn't have this problem. Because you would have came out and said from day one, no, we cannot sustain any more people than what we have here. Meaning Americans, the ones that are paying taxes. Now, you don't have that tax money. It's hard for these illegals to find jobs. Now you want help from the federal government. Now you want our tax money, my tax money, to help you with your damn problem. Let's continue.
We know these apartments are overcrowded, and it needs to be addressed.
Weimar and Mason said they couldn't get any politicians to call them back and offer help. So on September 19th, I reached out to Republican Congressman Warren Davidson, who represents Lockland, Democrat Senator Sherrod Brown, and Republican Governor Mike DeWine. I requested interviews with each to find out what, if anything, they were willing to do to help this struggling community and others like it in the state. After all, Springfield made national headlines for the issues it's facing related to its increasing Haitian population. I repeatedly called and emailed Congressman Warren Davidson's office for nearly 4 weeks with no response. Finally, after pleading for one, his chief of staff simply said, "Thanks for reaching out, but we're going to pass." No reason given as to why he refused to talk. Meanwhile, Senator Brown's staff was more responsive, saying they would try to accommodate an interview. But after nearly a month of trying, I emailed, pointing out that I had been extremely flexible in offering any time that would work for Senator Brown, and at this point, I must report that the senator is simply refusing to sit down for an interview to discuss the situation. Again, no reason was given as to why Brown wasn't available other than scheduling. His office did offer to send written statements on the situation. Lastly, I went back and forth with Governor DeWine's office requesting a time to interview him as well. After 27 days of offering to meet the governor whenever and wherever worked for him, his staff said last Friday they'd not been able to find the hours needed to prepare the governor for the interview. So I offered to wait another week for them to find that time. But as of today, a week later, his chief of staff hasn't even responded to that email. Governor DeWine's office did offer a statement or to put another staff member up for an interview. Neither Weimar nor Mayor Mason were available for an interview, but Weimar tells me that there's been no change since the last time that I spoke with him at the end of September. They've had phone calls with all three staffs in the politician's office, but no help has been offered from any of them.
Okay, and I'll leave it at that. Now here's the problem. I'm not saying that this reporter, okay, is putting out any false information, anything like that. What I will say, that because I couldn't understand when he was saying that he tried to reach out to 2 Republican officials and a Democrat official, and nobody is returning the call. So then I started thinking, you know what? Excuse me. I could understand if the Democrats don't want to return the call because they're all in cahoots with this bullshit. Then I was like, well, how come the Republicans won't respond? And I started thinking outside the box. Well, maybe they're trying to just like rub it in their faces like, we want nothing to do with this. This is your baby. You fed it. You raised it. Now you got to deal with it. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. In a way, in my opinion, grimy, because you should jump on it, okay, and try to get rid of it. Start sending these people back, but you can't, because once again, this is a sanctuary town. Okay, so I understand that maybe their hands are tied because we already know what's going on. This is why Donald Trump keeps talking about that when he becomes president, he is going to get rid of all sanctuary status throughout the United States. Okay? But then I had to go look up for the governor and find out, let me do a little bit more research on him to find out what's going on. And I came across something that makes total sense why, okay, he is not responding. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, so if you remember what I told you listening to the last reporter, to keep the date in mind, that he said that he's been trying to reach out about this to officials since mid-September. So like I said, I was trying to figure out why, and then I came across this, okay, by ABC News. It says, Ohio GOP Governor DeWine slams Trump and Vance for baseless claims about Haitian migrants in Springfield. And this was put out September 20th, 2024. Does anybody know the term when they say eat crow? Okay. So then it made perfect sense to me after I found this, and I'm going to read it. And it was because this same governor, who by all intents and purposes now we can tell is either an anti-Trumper or a rhino, whatever the case is, was actually slamming Trump, okay, and J.D. Vance about the immigration problem going on in Springfield, Ohio, and here we are in Lockland, Ohio, and they got the same problem. I'll read it, okay? It says, Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine delivered his strongest condemnation yet of former President Donald Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, for their continued false claims regarding Haitian migrants in Springfield. As a supporter of former President Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance, I am saddened by how they and others continue to repeat claims that lack evidence and disparage the legal migrants, check it out, living in Springfield. This rhetoric hurts the city and its people, and it hurts those who have spent their lives there. DeWine wrote in an op-ed in the New York Times published Friday morning. DeWine said Trump-Vance rhetoric was a distraction, diminishing immigration policy conversations that dilute and cloud what should be a winning argument about the border. Okay, I really don't need to read anymore because we already know why he hasn't responded, nor has the governor, the Republican senator, nor has the Democrat, whatever the case is, responded to the news reporter, because like I said, if you know what the term means to go eat crow, this is exactly what they're doing. They're eating crow. Okay? Now, I know where this is coming from. Him denouncing this is by what was going on, what the people were saying in Springfield about the Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs. Okay? So then he's going to come out and try to, flip it around. He's against Trump, this and that, whatever the case is. When the whole basis was to use the fact that that claim was real, not about the dogs, about the cats. And it is a known fact that in Haiti, okay, they do have cat markets. Okay, in a certain part of Haiti. You don't believe me? Look it up. Okay? But Trump and Vance used that to show them that, you know what? You are letting an influx of people into this country, and they are not contributing to this country. They are bringing their culture to this country. Things that we don't agree with. Things that Americans don't like. But did anybody decide to back Trump up? No. Instead, supposedly one of our own decided to put on an op-ed and slam Trump and Vance. So now that another small town that's being run by Democrats is reaching out, asking, please help us. And Biden and Harris ain't going to do it because they don't care. Now, the shoe's on the other foot, and it's like, what do we do? Well, maybe if you people weren't in cahoots serving your overlord, maybe you wouldn't have this problem. Now that the shoe's on the other foot, or I shouldn't say the shoe's on the other foot, the fact that if the governor of Ohio thought that the problem was only in Springfield, that it wasn't going to get, out of hand, because he knew that in another town, okay, Lockland, they were importing these immigrants, since I believe one of the articles I read earlier from late 2022 or early 2023, so he knew that they were letting in illegals. So they let in a bunch of Haitians into Springfield, a bunch of people from Mauritania into Laughlin. What other towns are they letting different people in, from different parts of the world, to take over small towns in America? God only knows. Okay? So this is why he won't give a response. He will not, nor will anybody else get back to that news reporter, because they knew this was going on. But they try to slam Trump about it, and now that here's another town being taken over, while the Americans are being pushed out. Not my words, the news reporter's words. Okay? You heard what she said? Non-immigrants are leaving. She couldn't say Americans. She had to say non-immigrants. Why didn't you just say the truth? Why didn't you just say that Americans are leaving the town? Why do you call Americans non-immigrants, but when it comes to the illegal immigrants, you call them asylum seekers? You try to clean up their act, and you try to belittle the Americans' act. Okay? And here we are. Another small town in America being taken over by illegals, them asking for the government to take more of our taxpayer money to help them acquire the American dream. Meanwhile, all these non-immigrants, their American dream is being shattered. Once again, you can't make it up. And here we are, the day before Election Day. And a lot of people are afraid because they're like, what if Donald Trump says he's going to do what he's going to do, which is start deporting people? Good. My heart goes out to people that are struggling all around the world. It really is. Okay? But there is no way I'm going to let my family starve. Not that I have a family, a wife and children, anything like that. But if I did, I'm not going to make them starve and feed somebody else and think that what I'm doing is okay. Okay? And since everybody wants to talk so religious about it, because I see a lot of these politicians trying to quote scripture. I mean, it's throughout the Bible in many instances. One in particular is, a house divided cannot stand. Take that whichever way you want. I can apply that to so many different things on what is going on in this country. One of them is that if your village, you consider your house, you have divided it. And I'm talking about the village in Laughlin, Ohio. You just divided your house, and your house is crumbling. Because instead of you taking care of the people in your house, which are the Americans, you brought in more people, while probably ignoring what others were saying. You helped those outsiders, those strangers. The people in your house, the Americans, are leaving, taking their taxpayer money with them. Sorry, folks, let me pause this.
You don't think of it that way, but that's...
Okay? And now the village doesn't have the money to keep trying to help the illegals. A house divided. Let that sink in for a little bit. Okay? Let it all sink in. Because if anybody thinks that Kamala Harris is the best thing for this country moving forward, excuse me, why don't you open up your doors to all these illegals? Why don't you give them half your paycheck? Don't take my taxpayer money. You pay taxes on your money. You get a paycheck at the end of the week after taxes. Take in an illegal family or whoever it is, man, woman, children, take them in and then give them half your paycheck after you just got paid. I guarantee you, not one person would do that. Because they're going to be like, wait a minute, why should I take half my paycheck? Because you're the one that wanted all of them here. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about all the Democrats, because we are seeing there's a big influx of Democrats that are giving up and say, you know what, I'm done. They're switching parties. But the ones that are still there on the ship while it's sinking, take them in. Give them your money. Give them your bed. Give them your apartment, your town. Give them your stuff. Don't take my taxpayer money to give them voucher for cars. Give them your vehicle. How about that? Since you care so much. All these religious groups that are out there thinking that they're doing mankind a favor by destroying one, trying to help lift another one, you do that. Don't ask for government assistance. Don't ask for taxpayer money. You took it upon yourself to help. Okay? You dig deep into your pockets. You give them half of what is yours. You don't have the damn right to do this while Americans, your fellow countrymen, women, and children are suffering, and not even go as far as helping them stay. They're leaving. They're taking their money. You don't have the right to ask for help from anybody. You did this. You wanted this. You stuck your foot in this. This is yours. You bred this baby. You fed this baby. Now it's time for you to raise this baby. Okay? Because, I mean, it's just so, it's so old already. And you would think they'd open up their eyes, but they don't. They're like, no, we got to do more. We got to destroy more in order to help build somebody else up. I'm sorry. I know that I'm a sinner. Okay, I pray every day for God to forgive me of my sins. But the way I see it, in no way, shape, or form are you doing God's work by making it harder on others who have been trying so long, born and raised in this country. By you making it harder for them, trying to help others that came here illegally, that is not doing something good. In my opinion, that is not doing God's work. Okay? Doing God's work is taking half of what you got and helping somebody, not expecting somebody else to do it. But on that story, we're going to move on to the next one, because Kathy Hochul thinks that if you vote Republican, you're not American. Let's get into that story. Here we go.
Gave me a chance to tie the Republicans running these seats, the incumbents, closer to Donald Trump, and remind everybody, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you're voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American, because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about over and over and over again.
Okay, I'm going to stop back, people. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go back so you guys can hear it again, what she said.
A chance to tie the Republicans running these seats, the incumbents, closer to Donald Trump, and remind everybody, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you're voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American. Because
okay, I'm going to stop it there, because this woman is, oh boy. This woman is as vicious as a double-headed snake. Okay? I am so sick and tired of listening to this woman. This woman is just one wicked woman. Okay? Mind you, that was not voted in New York to be governor. Okay? She just said that all the incumbents that are running, basically, the Republicans that are running in New York, okay, that if they support Trump, that, you heard what she said, they're anti-woman, anti-abortion, and anti-American. Since when being American meant that you had to be for abortion? Okay? I've never heard of somebody saying, I am pro-American, I hate women. I've never heard anybody say, I am pro-America, therefore, that makes me hate abortion. I've never heard of that. Okay? The only people that I've ever heard saying that they're anti-woman are just pigs, male chauvinists, abusive men. Basically, that's it. Okay? I've never heard anybody come out and say that because you're American, you have to be against abortion. No. Being against abortion is a moral and religious factor. Okay? It's part of your religious belief to say that you don't believe in abortion. Has nothing to do with being American. But this woman's going to come out and spew this nonsense, okay, and basically degrade half the country. And mind you, there are also people, liberals and Democrats, believe it or not, that are actually anti-abortion themselves, but they get vilified and they wind up leaving the parties. Okay? You know, I can't understand people like Kathy Hochul and the rest of them who are so willing to help out illegal immigrants thrive and live, but yet want to push only on Americans the issue of abortion. You don't see them pushing. I have not seen not one Democrat official push the abortion issue on illegal immigrants. I have yet to see it. They only push it on Americans. Why is that? Because there's another factor, another way that they can use to destroy America from within, the way Donald Trump has been saying, the enemy from within. Okay? And yet she's going to come because she knows that they're losing ground in New York. As a matter of fact, as of yesterday, I was watching, I believe it was Lou Valentino, with the information that he got, okay, there's talk that New York just might flip red. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. But leave it up to Kathy Hochul to basically degrade more Americans, New Yorkers included, my hometown, saying that just because we are against abortion, we're anti-American. Before this woman, okay, was even a thought in anybody's head, coming from a family of people that are anti-abortion, okay, a lot of people thought like that. A lot. And they still do. But no. Leave it up to somebody like her to start, vilifying people, and yet they come out and say that Trump is the one, okay, that is dividing this country. This sounds pretty divisive, if you ask me. But I'll leave it up to you guys. Let's continue.
Because you have just trashed American values and what our country is all about over and over and over again.
I'll stop it again. I'm sorry. That part right there, I forgot to comment on it. When she said you're trashing American values, basically you're trashing American values as if America was founded on the values of abortion. The country wouldn't exist if that was a big thing back then. Okay? If anything, people were trying to have more and more children in order to help the country grow. I tell you, where these people come up with these talking points is beyond me. But like a woman said before, okay, the enemy's a liar. This is what they want you to think. Let's continue. It says here, New York Governor Kathy Hochul has claimed those voting Republican in New York are anti-woman and anti-American. Unbelievable. Now, I just realized that there's music playing in the background, so I'm hoping I can play this segment without it getting cut. YouTube has a thing with music being played, so if I have to cut any of this out, just remember the beginning of her speaking. But let's continue. It says on Saturday, Hochul was interviewed by MSNBC and smeared New Yorkers who were voting for Republican House candidates. Matter of fact, I'll just mute it so maybe the music won't play, but I don't know how that works. It says, if you're voting for these Republicans in New York, you are voting for someone who supports Donald Trump, and you're anti-woman, you're anti-abortion, and basically you're anti-American. Nothing but filth coming out these people's mouth, man. What else? You just trashed American values and what our country is all about over and over. Unbelievable. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Let me go back. I'm sorry. Let's see what she has to say. Oh, she's not talking. Okay. Hochul has targeted Republican New Yorkers before in 2022. She told them to jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong. You know, and again, I'll bring it up again. The fact that, you know, they keep saying that Donald Trump is the one dividing people. All you hear is the Democrats talking down to voters. And Trump trashes, okay, the politicians and some of the most extremist voters out there. The ones that are out there causing chaos. He is not trying to trash everyone on the Democrat side because he knows that that can be a potential voter base. He is trying to speak common sense into them, trying to show them that, listen, we can have a great country if you would just stop with all this nonsense. They're the ones that don't want to give up. Okay? They're the ones that want their cake and eat it too. They're the ones that are trying to steal elections by hook or by crook. Okay? Which, once again, they're trying to suppress that information. Okay? But yet, she talks bad about New Yorkers and Americans now a couple of days ago. She did it back in 2022. I mean, and yet she's going to say that if you vote for Trump, you're anti-American. But who is the one bad-mouthing people and putting people down for what they believe in? Unbelievable. Let's speed it up a bit. It says right here, Republicans immediately fired back at the governor's comments, and a Democratic strategist also condemning Hochul's claims. Well, of course. Ex-Democrat New York Representative Max Rose asserted it's never a good thing to slam a large portion of voters. No kidding. This is about as helpful as a severe migraine. It's never a good thing to identify a large segment of voters as un-American. No kidding. You know, Donald Trump is always talking about bringing people together. He's always talking about it. And if you don't believe me, look at a lot of his rallies. He's always talking about bringing Republicans and Democrats together. He's always talking about it. But the left, they do the opposite, and they project on Trump. They project on everybody else, on his supporters. And it's like, we're not the ones saying it. We have the peaceful rallies. How many times do you see, on YouTube in particular, there's tons of video out there of content creators, Democrats going out there saying, I'm going to see if I can get into this to this Trump rally. And every single time they do it, they always come out with a different idea, with a different outlook, saying, you know what, it's not as bad as what the mainstream media is putting it. And in fact, they're more accepting than the Democrats. And then you'll have content creators and people putting out other people's stories of how the Democrats, how they were Democrats at one point, and because they started thinking a little different, a little more to the right, they got vilified and kicked out of their own circle of the Democrats. Total opposite agendas. Total opposite. Let's continue. It says Kathy Hochul doesn't represent a majority of Democrats anywhere. Yeah, well, why is she still in power? Republican Representative Mike Lawler slammed Hochul, stating the governor disgraced herself with her comments. Governor Hochul once again disgraced herself and the state of New York by calling supporters of some of the most bipartisan members of Congress anti-American. Did I go too much? Sorry. It's shameful and wrong and shows exactly how much of a partisan hack Kathy Hochul really is. She must be voted out in November of 2026, but only after Republicans hold the House, thanks to our New York GOP delegation. This is the way I see it. Forget about 2026, okay? Forget about that. Have a recall or whatever the case is. Have the people vote and say, you know what, go out en masse. You know, this is where and not that I look for all these pro-Palestinian protesters and people that are on the left that are against the Biden administration and whatever the case is. But if you truly care for change, if you truly think that the Democrats are letting you down, why aren't you all out there en masse trying to vote out this woman? Oh, that's because she gives you the power to go out there in the streets and be as chaotic as you want to be. Okay? Because the Republicans can't do it. Nobody's going to back them up. Okay? Now New York has to wait. But why wait? I mean, California tried to get rid of Gavin Newsom. He just decided to be a dictator and not leave. And that's basically what he did. Okay, and I put video out about that also. After the votes were coming in, even before half of the votes were coming in, they already called it for him. That is a move of a dictator. And Kathy Hochul is a dictator in New York. Let's finish this off. The governor's remark come less than a week after U.S. President Joe Biden called Donald Trump supporters garbage. Yeah, no kidding. Despite the attack by the Democrats towards Trump, the former president continues to poll strongly with the election only days away. According to a recent poll by the New York Post, former President Trump will be victorious in all 7 battleground states. Curtin University Dean of Global Future, Joe Syracuse cited the New York Post poll during an interview with Sky News. Let's see what he has to say.
An article in the New York Times.
I'll go back just a little bit. Sorry.
Democrats. Let's bring in now Curtin University's Dean of Global Future, Joe Syracuse. Joe, good to see you. So I was talking with you about an article in the New York Times, why Democrats are having such a hard time beating Trump. This is a question that was also asked by Michelle Obama at a Kamala Harris campaign rally, where she said she doesn't understand why the race is so tight. Democrats already seem to be trying to figure out what went wrong, and we're not even at polling day yet.
That's right. Good morning, Kenny. Well, look, they're starting to position now about how to explain what happens if Kamala Harris loses, and I believe she will lose. Look, the national environment is no longer conducive to the Democrats. Their elite policies, liberal policies from the Obama era on to Joe Biden, they've come and gone. And keep in mind that most Democrats believe that Donald Trump had been disqualified from running for the presidency again after his second impeachment, after his criminal trials and the like. And the only person who got disqualified was Joe Biden. Only 40% of Americans have any faith in him, and 28% of Americans, only 28% of Americans think he's moving in the right direction. Now,
okay, I'll leave it at that. Okay, but you see that's the whole thing. The Democrats have gotten complacent. And not complacent, they just basically think that, you know what, we can say and do whatever we want. Everybody's going to follow in lockstep. And we're just going to keep repeating the fact that Donald Trump is this, Donald Trump is that. As a matter of fact, there's a content creator, okay, on YouTube, okay, that actually put out a video yesterday or the day before. And I think that he, for his channel, is nothing but filth, okay, because all he does is curse and curse and curse, and makes the most sexual derogatory statements. I mean, even to the point that if you want, you can actually say that he's making threats of raping people on the right, but yet his channel is still up. Go figure. I get suppressed for putting out that there's voter fraud going on, but that's besides the point. Anyway, he's over here saying that because what Donald Trump told Tucker Carlson about how would Liz Cheney like to be, okay, on the battlefield, right away, he and the mainstream media saying that was a threat, that now they're going to try to get judges and lawyers to go against Trump, saying that was a threat, that will disqualify him from tomorrow's election, which is all bull. But anything to stoke the flames of division and hate is what these Democrats and their shills and the content creators that are paid off and the other politicians on the right and the music industry and the movie industry, this is all they do. This is all they do. Vilify everybody on the right that wants a better America, okay, that wants to look out for the American citizen first. They're saying Donald Trump and his supporters were the threat. But yet they can say all this and think that there's going to be no repercussions. And the repercussions are that, you know what? You people keep bad-mouthing half of America, if not half, more than half. Me personally, I think that it's actually 80% of Americans that don't follow what these Democrats are doing, that don't follow what the Rhino Republicans are doing. They keep making it seem that it's 50-50. No, I don't believe it's 50-50. I truly believe it's about 80% of America, okay, that is against this whole leftist agenda. It's just that since they have the power, media-wise, they can make the numbers look different. Okay? But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Okay? Because the way things are going right now, it looks like 80% of America is going to vote for Trump. And I hope that not that I think Trump is going to lose because of votes. Okay? I don't think he's going to lose at all. But with the way these Democrats are doing things, tomorrow's going to be a very big election for all eyes to see, and I guarantee you it's not going to be all eyes in America. It's going to be all eyes around the world. Because this leftist agenda has basically rooted out into the rest of the world. And people, the majority of people in the world want it gone. They want it to stop. Okay? Because just on the short that I put out, if that is being suppressed, okay, and by some chance Kamala wins, I'll be honest, and I know a lot of content creators are thinking the same thing. I don't know if a lot of channels are gonna be able to stay up. And I'm sure all of you are thinking the same thing. Okay? But the way I see it, when Trump gets into office, he has a lot of cleaning up to do. And I think that everyone that has participated in this, especially the big shots of going against Trump, going against what the people want, spreading all the lies and the rumors, I think that people need to be in front of a judge. As a matter of fact, I think that CBS, they're being called to have their license suspended or taken away, not suspended, like their license like revoked, basically. And you know what? And this is by the FCC speaking this. Not politicians. The FCC took it upon themselves to say, you know what? This was something that they did, and it was putting Kamala Harris on Saturday Night Live this past Saturday, which by their own guidelines said that if you're going to put one political official on, you have to adhere to all parties. And they didn't do that, which made them biased. And that move alone is being said by, I believe, is the president or the CEO of the FCC, not CEO, the president of FCC, said that this is something that, you know, that could warrant for CBS to basically be canceled completely. So we'll see. But anyway, folks, that's what I got for you. Hope you like it. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also, don't forget to get out there and vote tomorrow, okay? Let everybody know. If it's their first time, give them a heads up. Take them with you. Everybody deserves the right to vote. Keep your eyes and your ears open. If you're being turned away from the voting polls, don't leave. Stand your ground. Make sure you get to vote. Okay? Because something tells me there's going to be a lot of stuff going on tomorrow throughout the whole country, especially the key swing battleground states. And this is where a lot of people need to keep an eye open, especially if you see a bunch of illegals being led into a polling station. Okay? Keep an eye open. Trust me. So remember, people, stay vigilant. Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the women and the children. Pray for this country. Pray for your enemies. Pray for Donald Trump. And don't forget to get out there and vote. Peace.